Hi everyone, I'm just going to show you how to offset text and how to curve text in both Inkscape and in Design Space. I was going to start with Design Space, but it's taken a while to upload the Munster file to it, so I'm just giving that a few minutes to catch up with itself, and in the meanwhile I'm going to start with Inkscape. So I know a few of you have already joined me before with the tutorials for creating the shadow layers for the bookmarks, but I'm just going to go over it again and show you how to import a clip art into here and show you how to curve text in here as well. So first off, I'm going to import the little Munster file just so I've got him to work around on here. Now this will, the cute ones is on there. Try and remember what I've saved them as. I don't know if anybody else ever has this issue. It's a running joke with me. Right, so first off, I am going to create this for a 5-inch cake topper. You can do it to match any cake topper you've got. It'd look quite cute on a few different things actually. On a door plaque for a door or anything. So it's entirely your choice. But I am just going to drag a circle in. So all I've done is in this left panel, I've come over here and clicked the little circle. I'm then going to come up to the arrow and I'm just going to change up here to inches. This little box here is to drop down to millimeters. I'm going to change it to inches. And I'm just going to alter this to 5 and 5. And then I'm going to lock it to maintain the shape. These little monsters down here, I'm just going to come up to object and ungroup. To ungroup them, I'm going to work with this little one here, and I'll probably keep them too for now. I'm just going to group them back up so I don't lose the facial features on the little monsters. And I'm just going to pop them over there for now. I'm just going to change this to a lighter colour, just so that we can see what we're working with. So first off, I'm going to insert the name. So I'm coming down here to this little A symbol. I'm just going to move onto the screen and type, and I will do Thomas's name. I normally do Jacob, but I'm just going to come up here and I'm just going to find a font. This is my hardest part, is finding the font. I should probably have a look for one first before I decide to come on here. I'm just going to go for this one. I quite like the looks of it. This font, I couldn't tell you where I got it from, but I will have a look. But it's called Smokes. So this one, what I'm going to first do is I'm going to come up to Path, and then so object to path, and then object, so jump next door and down to ungroup, and it's going to separate them all off for us. And then I'm going to come to path and union. This is going to just do the basics of creating a shadow. I'll show you how to curve the text and then create a shadow from that as well. It's just kind of a bit of a refresher. And then I'm just going to right click and duplicate it. So I've got my shadow here. I'm just going to turn it to blue, and you need to come up to path and down to outset. I haven't changed the thickness on this as I sometimes would, and I have done in previous tutorials at the moment, simply because I want quite a bit of a thicker shadow. But if you do want to change the thickness of this offset, all you need to do is you need to come up to edit and all the way down to preferences. And this will open this little pop-up box here. And then on this left hand side, you're going to scroll down to behavior. And then you're going to come down to steps. And this little box will pop up here. And the inset and outset by is what you can use to change it. Now, I normally change mine to 0.004. Because I normally typically offset some of my curvier fonts, such as Desire Pro, just a little bit, when I'm cutting with the vinyl. So this is just kind of, I just do it gradually. So that's what I normally set mine to, but you can set it to whatever you want to. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to leave it as the standard settings for this one. So I've got me Thomas. I am just going to do a number 1 because he is soon to be 1. Remember, there's a little lock up here, so if it's not locked when you want to kind of alter these, make sure you're locking it first to maintain your ratios. And it doesn't look skewiffed. So again, I'm just going to create that duplicate, create that shadow layer. So I'm just going to duplicate it. I'm just going to change the colour of it again, and I am just going to come up to path, object to path. No, sorry, ignore me. No, that's what I do need to do. Sorry, guys. So up to path. So before I even duplicate it, I'm going to go back. Path, object to path. Object to ungroup. I know it seems a bit silly ungrouping one item, but this is where Design Space can have a little bit of a wobbler with it. So it's worth ungrouping it, even if it is just one item. And then path and union, and then I am going to duplicate it. So right click and duplicate. It just saves you from doing the step twice. You can do it, but just saves you. And I'm going to come up to path and outset. Again, you can press Control and close bracket to do that. I'm just going to bring this to the front by clicking this little one here, and you will see that I have created that shadow layer. Now, I could quite easily just, if you're not overly confident or you don't want to curve the text, you know, you can just kind of put the text on here. I would be inclined to, I'm just going to grab, I'm just going to change that to blue, and I am just going to do that. If you want to align this in this program, what you can do is you come up to object and you come down to align and distribute, and it'll bring up these little symbols similar to what you get in Design Space. Just drag a box around them all, and this one here I'll center it on the vertical, and this one here I'll center it on the horizontal, and then you can group it and keep it together. That's just another little handy tip to know. I am going to put the one here. I don't tend to worry overly about kind of position here at this stage with Design Space. It's not hugely important in Inkscape at the moment. I tend to do my positioning later on when I go over to Design Space. You could just have the one in the monster if you wanted to. It may come in handy actually for putting them behind. But that would kind of, as I said, give you your shadow layers for this purpose of this one if you didn't want to particularly curve the font. Oh, I didn't grab it there properly. I was trying to be conscious not to grab that one. But yeah, you know, you can just play around with the design, as I said, and your little monsters. Now, if you want to curve the text, because I think it will be quite good to kind of have that text curved over the top of this one, is what I'll be doing. You know, I'll maybe bring in another monster over here. But to curve the text, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this circle behind it. I'm just going to bring down here. I'm going to change the colour so that you can see what I'm working with. And I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm just going to move this monster and this one over. Now I'm going to bring this over to here. You don't need to worry particularly about this. It might be that you kind of decide to go for more of kind of a flatter squasher shaped one, such as this. So I've just kind of unclicked my little lock up here, and this allows me to manipulate the shape to how I want it. It just depends on how much you want this to curve in the way you want it, but you can kind of play around with it once you've got it right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type my text again. And I'm going to pick the same font just so that you can see how to do it. And what you need to do is you need to click. So this circle here is going to act on what I'm going to curve the text on. And this is kind of what you need to curve it. Or as I said, you could have the squashed circle if you want. It's entirely up to you. So what you need to do is you need to click on your name and the shape. And then you're going to come up to text. And then you're going to come down to put on path. And as you can see, it's automatically jumped onto the path. Now, the way to get it, I know kind of that's a bit more of a different curve. So if you kind of click, if you click here and kind of click backspace, you lose your letters. So I'm just going to click in front of it and I'm just going to use the space bar to wiggle it around to where I want it. I'm happy there with it, and all I'm going to do is then click off it, click on the text and hit again, just going to create your SVG file as you would. So object to path, object, ungroup and path and union, and then you can move this out the way and that will keep that where you want it. And again, to create your shadow behind it, just duplicate it, come to object, to path and outset, and there you go, you have your shadow layer behind it. I just send that, bring that one to the front. There you go, you can see how to do it in this one. I am just going to go over to Design Space now to quickly show you how to do it in Design Space. What I would do here is I would just save it and upload to Design Space as normal. I'm hoping Design Space still hasn't caught up, guys. Do apologise. What I will do is I'm just going to open a new window. I'll just do it without the monsters because I was trying to upload the monster. I'm going to close it down. I'm going to try opening a new one. I'm not sure what is going on with Design Space right now. It opened up before. Let's upload the monsters, and now it's disappeared entirely. So there. Show me down here in this space. So I'm just going to open a new project. I am going to insert a circle. 5 inches I'll do again for the cake topper. That's the size that I have. There we go. I'm just going to change it to 5 inches. And I'm just going to change it to a lighter colour so that we can see it a bit better. Now I'll use the same font that I used over in Inkscape. Just to save us time from looking for one, because I'll be here all day otherwise. At least the little text box is back where it should be. So I'm going to bring that here. Now the way to curve the text in here is to use this little curve symbol here. Now I know the temptation might be there to ungroup it and respace it, but if you do that, it will then not give you this option to curve the text, unfortunately. So it needs to be done before you ungroup it and before you do anything to it. Don't weld it, because again that will then remove this option as well. And you can curve this way or this way and kind of manipulate it to where you want it. So you could kind of have it curved this way, or you could have it curved the other way. I'm not going to bring them onto the Zine, guys, because it's just going to crash the system, I think, if I try to. So this is how you curve your text here. If you then wanted to kind of manipulate it to move them a bit closer together, you could then alter your letter spacing. Yeah, and it squashes a bit more for you. Again, you can come back and still kind of manipulate it with that. But like I said, if you hit weld or ungroup it, then you're going to lose that feature. If you want to create the shadow behind it, you're going to need to make sure that you pick a font and use your filter section over here. I delete that out there because it's not going to give us it otherwise. And you're going to need a multi-layer file in this one. And, oh, sorry, no fonts found. That's 2 minutes. I'll click back off and click back on. If I was to just do another one and come up to here and up to filters and multi-layer, it's going to tell you here underneath if it's a multi-layer font or not. I know there's not overly that many in Design Space. It never seems to give me many either. When I come over here, it certainly hasn't given this one as an option for a multi-layered font, despite saying it is. I don't entirely know why it does that. I don't know if it's because it wants me to download it. I will just try. Let's see if download opens that option. Normally though, within this layer panel, especially if you have access, it should open up 2 options here for you. But it might actually be that still downloading at the minute, it's on course though. So the way to this one would actually probably shadow okay actually without kind of doing anything huge to it. So firstly I would start off by curving it. And then what I would do is I would duplicate it so that I kind of have it down here. And it might be that this, oh no, it's just got regular writing. It might be that if I weld it, and then if I duplicate it, I could probably create it by stacking. It's not going to be the neatest here. No, I don't think that one's going to work. I thought it might let this kind of work quite easily. But for example, this one, my suggestion would be to duplicate it to make sure you have a kind of a spare one, and then duplicate this one a few more times. Oh, I should have welded it first, sorry guys. So let's go back. I weld it first, that's permanent, and then duplicate a few times. Normal. If I then highlight them all and click center, and then if I change the top layer, use my layer panel here so I can see which one's top, so I can see where it is, and then I come down and if I move that one down a little bit and then come to the next one and push that one up a little bit, as you can see it's starting to create a shadow on this one, and then down to that one, and if I go left a little bit no, sorry, if I go right and up, and then if I go just right, and then if I come down and right, this is not a accurate shadow, guys, unfortunately, within Design Space. Down and left, and then the next one just goes left. You can see that is not the best shadow. It's better than nothing, but it's not the neatest. You could physically do it just by eyeing it. If I just come back up here and align center, some fonts will do this much easier than others, and some are just kind of going to just be that bit more difficult, especially when you're working with a couple of kind of might be able to thicken it up a little bit at a time as you go around, kind of, and keep welding as you go, and then you can kind of duplicate this, and it saves you a couple of measures, a couple of steps as you're duplicating it as you go, and just kind of try and create that shadow by playing by probably easier winging this by eyesight than is kind of using the other trick. Oh, I will get it there, guys. Right, I'm trying to highlight them both to weld them together. Oh, if I just bring that one to the front. I've lost it now. My features aren't working. I do apologise, it is on go slow, guys. I still don't have that option. What I would normally do is send this to the back and send this to the front. I thought maybe if I kind of clicked it off it would move it, but it doesn't look like it's going to do that. Your numbers would be a much easier to create that shadow layer. Sometimes it lets you do it simply by, sometimes the fonts you've picked up, where's it gone? Sometimes the fonts you pick will have a bold option. That's another way to do it. This one doesn't, this one's a writing one. But if I was to come up, not all of them have this option though, unfortunately. And it may just be kind of a case of clicking through. I think Cricut fonts do have more of this option to create the bold option, unlike fonts that you might have downloaded from elsewhere. So for example, if I click this one, that one's going to go regular as well. Some of these definitely have the option to bold them up. I have used them myself. This one, for example, will create a shadow behind it automatically. If you come over here to the right hand side in the layer panel, you can see the grey one here, and behind it there is this one here with a little eye blocking it. So if you click this one, you can see you've instantly got that shadow behind it. That's the easiest way to do this in Design Space, is to use the system fonts and use the system fonts that are multi-layers. Not entirely sure why some system fonts show as multi-layer cutting and writing option, but then don't give you that option to actually multi-layer it. I don't know, this one does. Oh, this one does as well, actually. It might be worth keeping a notepad and keeping a note of which of these will do that for you. if I just to come up and change that one to one of them. So I'll just change it to the Bird's Paradise, because I quite like their middle fingers. What I would do is first, this one is curved because I already curved it. Again, if I come up here, but if I then come over to here, and before I weld it, before I do anything with it, if I just click on the layer panel over here, again you can see here it's locked in the layer panel, so just unlock it and it is there. You can change the colour of it here as well. You can't really see the blue that I changed it to, but let's come down here. If I come down here and ungroup it, you can see that layer's there as well. I will try and get a list of fonts that I know for certain within Design Space have this double layer, and I will try and find out why some of them show as multi-layer and do not tell you they're multi-layer as well. I don't think it's going to let me upload these little monsters. Just be aware though that if this does upload to Design Space, since the last big update, it is uploading to either really small or really big. I know sometimes it doesn't look like it's appeared on the screen or that the upload's worked. I do notice that it is taking a lot longer for things to upload. The screen bar keeps going along here at the top, but if in your layer panels you can see it and you can't see it on your screen, then just check your position, the X and Y over here, and the height and width, and just kind of set the height and width to something a bit more reasonable, such as 2 or 4 inches, and check that their positions are kind of within the 1 to 4 on both the X and Y, and it'll bring it back over onto your screen and centre it for you. I know there's been times that I've been all over the map hunting for it and still not found it, so it's worth using that. I don't think it's going to load up, guys. I do know it is trying to update itself. It's been trying a few times today, so I know there's issues with Design Space, but I will go over it in the tutorial on Friday, and if there's anybody who still needs any help or guidance with this, I will make sure that I send over the Zoom meeting as well. I hope that helps. I'm sorry I'm having a few technical issues here, guys, but hopefully it cooperates and it works for Friday with any luck. So thank you. Bye.